back to Emotional Mojo. You know, we try to tell you all the time, in order to be happy, you gotta stop striving for perfection. Instead, our next guest says you should just settle. For excellence, of course. You know we wouldn't have it any other way. That is the name of his book, and we have author and self-proclaimed motivational rebel, Topher Morrison, joining us now. Topher, you're a rebel.
Self-proclaimed, I love this show, by the way. I like to have a little mojo with my emotions, so I'm glad to be here.
Nice. And we mentioned your book. It's called Settle for Excellence. So it's been hailed as the self-help book for people who are tired of self-help books. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, I say a lot of stuff in Settle for Excellence that probably would go against the grain of what other motivational speakers might say.
Okay.
So I figured, you know what, we've had too many books out there that already talk about the same old stuff, so why don't we, I don't know which way to look. I don't know if I should be I feel like a prairie dog here.
Look at the pretty one. That's what I always do.
Is that
Look at the pretty one.
Yeah, I would still be looking like a prairie dog. I still don't know where to go. So yeah, I should just say a lot of stuff in there that is probably, it goes against the grain of traditional motivational speaking, because I think, in many respects, you know, there's a lot of times where people give good, well-meaning advice, but it's not appropriately applied depending upon what position the people that are listening to it are in their lives. And I
True,
think
they can interpret it differently.
Yeah, the best advice can be the worst advice if it's not in the right context.
So, some of your advice, there's a chapter in the book, and it's called Lessons from a Hamster.
Yeah.
What in the world can we learn from a hamster?
Well,
I gotta know.
Yeah, well, you look at a hamster, right? And they just sit there on that wheel, and they're going around and around and around, and they just put a lot of effort into things, right? And my thinking is that, you know, a lot of people, they spend way too much. I'm not even looking at the monitor right now, because if I see it, I'll be like that thing. I won't be able to focus anymore. It's awesome.
You can't keep up.
But that's what people do in life, right? They just sit there and they give so much effort to get going, and by the time they finally get going, they put so much effort into it, they fall over. And they just don't have it. And so I'm real big on putting the energy into things, not effort into things.
Well, and that's kind of like, too, living in the present moment. You know, the hamster wheel is, I'm going to be doing this, looking towards retirement, and then you might not make it to retirement.
Well, and the thing is, you know, I describe it in the book, I describe it as, it's like carrying, it's the zen of carrying coffee. You know how when you're carrying a cup of coffee across the floor, if you give it too much attention, you're going to spill it, right? You put way too much effort into it, but if you don't pay attention at all, it's going everywhere as well. There's this zen-like state when you're carrying coffee where you got to give it just a little bit of attention, but not as much. And if you can get in that into your career, it tends to be effortless, not efforting.
Yeah. Where do you see, or do you see comparisons, comparing yourself with others? Does that play a role in the perfectionist mentality?
You know what, all the time. In fact, what happens is, and this is the thing that, this is probably why I say some things that go against the grain of motivational speakers, because I think the biggest fallacy that a lot of people have with watching motivational speakers and successful individuals is that they've got it figured out. And they go, man, I want to be like that person. Trust me, some of the most messed up people in the world are motivational speakers.
Oh yeah, I can attest to that.
It's like stand-up comics are miserably depressed all the time. Motivational speakers just get home at the end of the day most of the time and just start sucking their thumb.
But I love that you mentioned this, because what it makes us realize is we're all the same, and you even say there are 3 undeniable laws of human nature. What are those?
Well, and that's where I talk about, you know, you don't want to go into perfection, just settle, but don't settle for mediocrity or nothing as well. The 3 laws are real simple. Number 1, we're an all or nothing creature, especially in this new entitlement generation. They just don't want anything unless they can have everything. And what that tends to do...
It is so true.
Yeah, and what happens is, if we look at this all or nothing mentality, the moment we don't get something done, the second the law kicks in, which is that incompletions drain energy from our body.
Well, but look at the society we live in. People become stars overnight because of YouTube or this or that or their book. All of a sudden, somebody mentions it.
Well, that's the impression, right? But they put years in to get that overnight success. Yeah, and so people sit there and go, well, I haven't got 1 million YouTube hits yet. Screw it. Well, maybe you should work a little harder.
If it's hard, it's not worth doing, is what a lot of people think, right?
Totally, yeah. And
so what's the second?
Well, the second one is incompletions drain energy. So what happens is, if we do something, we want it all or we don't want it all. So gyms are a perfect example. I don't have time to go to the gym today. Well, you have time to, you know, sit down and do 10 push-ups. But we go all or nothing.
Or
if I can't get to the gym, I just
And yesterday we did a 7-minute workout.
Exactly.
You can do
it. And so what happens is, when they have that incompletion, now they feel like they failed, and then their energy goes away. And so because they have no energy, that's even almost like self-fulfilling when it comes to exercise.
And it happens in my business as well with diet. You know, everyone thinks they have to be perfect, and there is, if I'm not perfect, then I'm eating crap.
It's all black and white.
And if I can't lose 30 pounds right away, well, then it's just not working.
What's the third one?
Completions give you energy.
Completions give you energy.
So the whole key is to break that pattern of that we're an all or nothing creature. And really be conscious of that and say, look, I'm going to consciously try to be incomplete and be okay with it and just declare it complete. And if you can do that, then all of a sudden you can be happy and feel complete doing 10 sit-ups and 10 push-ups even though you didn't get to that
It's like those baby steps
Baby
people
steps
say all the
we
time.
talk
You can
about
at
all the
least
time.
cross something off the list.
So you're
that you feel
focusing on the
accomplished.
process instead of the outcome.
Precisely, or I'm changing the outcome to make it more obtainable.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
I love that.
Now, you've studied people who have overcome big obstacles, and I really want to know, what did you learn from them, and how can we apply that to our lives?
Probably the biggest thing with people that overcome really huge adversity. I've got a friend of mine, Pedro Pimento. This kid at 17 years old had bacterial meningitis and wakes up at 17, no arms, no legs. Kid never missed a beat. Didn't get depressed. Yeah, in fact, you know what? You guys would love him on the show. He's fantastic.
Right, we'll
he
get him.
snowboards,
Get us in
he
contact.
skis, he does everything, right? And the interesting thing about people that overcome these huge adversities is that not only do they find ways to stay inspired themselves, but they also have an external focus to where they want to inspire other people. And I think it's that ability to have that external focus, whereas a lot of people that are in crisis are just like, fix me, fix me.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what, sometimes the fastest way to get out of depression is to help
Is to
somebody
help
else
someone
who's
else,
depressed,
yeah.
right?
We say
It gives
that,
you
right?
a unique advantage,
Yeah.
actually, to
And-
say, I've experienced this, I can help you.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, is that what we see, especially nowadays, because there's so many, motivational speakers coming into the fold, but they've never overcome anything.
Right.
So they're just doing lip service. And I think there's something tremendously powerful in somebody who's actually been there, done that. They got the scars on the knees, they got the scabs on. They've been beat up, and they're walking their talk versus just talking the talk.
They're living their message, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Topher Morrison, thank you so much. His book, Settle for Excellence, is available online. You guys, we all got our copies, so you got to go ahead and go out and get yours.